football with you for the next 2 hours as we are winding down week 7 of the high school football season all across the state of South Carolina. And we've got a touch of the fall crispness in the air. Perfect night for football. Chris Bergen here in Florence, actually. My studios here, and Josh Cohen back in our Columbia studios. We teamed up a little bit earlier for Sports Talk. Now back at it tonight for the high school scoreboard show. And Josh, this is a real treat for me because I've been a fan of this show forever because it was the one place I could always come after broadcasting a high school game and I could always get the scores. Phil was always there from, I started listening to this show, I think, in the early 90s. Give you an idea of, first off, how long I've been around, but how long this show has been around.
He's an old guy. He's an old guy. I mean, our quote-unquote network has been around for 41 years. It's the 41st season. So pretty long, yeah.
I mean, it's an absolute treat. So a lot of fun, and we'll have a good time over the next couple of hours with you. If you're at a game, give us a call, 888-898-2525. Again, 888-898-2525. You let us know what you saw tonight, what you liked about your team, what you didn't like about your team if they came out on the wrong end of the scoreboard. David Shelton will join us at the bottom of the hour, of course. David has always been on the show a whole lot longer than I have, and David will lend his expertise for about 90 minutes on the program. We'll catch up with Scott Early, the executive director of the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association, just after 11 o'clock. Talk with him. There's big news in the state, of course, this week. The South Carolina High School League announcing that it would expand or lengthen the season by a week, move the playoffs back a week. They'll still have the full 5 rounds, at least at the public school level of the playoffs. And so that means the playoffs won't begin until November 15th. That was something Scott Early was pushing for. He was actually hoping initially that it may go back 2 weeks, give the upper state teams who did not get a chance to play, of course, because of Hurricane Helene, a chance to get caught up. So we'll get Scott's take on all of that. Also, of course, reports from around the state and ball games that have just gone final, that are about to go final. And we'll go final a little bit later on. So we'll get to the reports here in just a little while. 888-898-2525. However, why you tune in and why I have always tuned in is to get the scores from around the state. So let's run through the first check of the scoreboard here tonight on the high school scoreboard, brought to you by our good friends at Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax. You're with Founders. All right, here we go. Strom Thurmond, no problem tonight as they blow out American Leadership Academy of Lexington by a score of 53-0. In the fourth quarter in the upper state, we've got Palmetto leading Southside Christian 21-10. Just gone final, and we'll jump around the state. We'll try and condense these and give you geographical regions in the state a little bit later on, but just getting rolling here tonight with the scores. Hartsville has defeated Crestwood tonight 41-7. Jefferson Davis and Skeesa, they get a forfeit win over Conway Christian. It'll go down as a 1-0 victory for the Raiders of Jefferson Davis. Also in Skeesa, Wynn able to get across a 48-28 victory over King Academy. Williamsburg, the Stallions beat Lee Academy in Bishopville by a final score of 22-8. I beg your pardon, that's a halftime score again. Williamsburg at the half, leading Lee by a score of 22-8. Dorchester on top of Clarendon Hall. And this, how about this score? This was a first quarter score, 47-0. My guess is that game is probably long since over. Thank goodness for a running clock. Buford Academy with a 48-6 lead over Faith Christian. That game in the third quarter. Thomas Hayward a win tonight as they defeat Andrew Jackson 48-6. Also in Skeesa, John Paul II Catholic School a 40-0 victory over Hilton Head Prep. Also in Skeesa, sticking with Wilson Hall, 34-7 winner tonight over Trinity Collegiate. Hammond Academy at the half was leading Augusta Christian by a score of 24-3. As we get back into the South Carolina High School League scores, Latta a 46-0 win over Hemingway. That'll make Phil Kornblut happy, and as a matter of fact, may continue my stay here. Phil's a pretty superstitious guy, and if his Latta Vikings were able to win when he's not here, he may not want to ever come back. And Pamplico with a 42-7 win tonight over Green Sea Floyds. Also Lakeview, a 28-6 winner over Carver's Bay. Hunter Kiner Tyler with a 28-0 shutout of Calhoun Academy tonight. Blackville Hilda, no problem with Wagner Sally, 50-6 the final score there. Louisville over Lee Central tonight, 34-14 in the PD. Also staying in the PD at the half, Lamar, no problem with Great Falls. The Silver Foxes a 40-0 lead at the break. Whitmire in the fourth quarter out in front of Dixie, 38-18 in the upper state. Also, Abbeville tonight, a 56-0 winner over Calhoun Falls Charter as the Panthers continue to roll right along. Keenan, a 36-15 lead in the fourth quarter over Silver Bluff. Other scores, Oceanside Collegiate at the half, they were leading North Charleston by a score of 27-6. Loris, a winner tonight as they beat Waccamaw 40-14. Hanahan at the half out in front of Orangeburg-Wilkinson by a score of 10-7. Newberry with a 47-0 shutout tonight of Fox Creek. Meantime, Mountain View Prep in a defensive struggle out in front of Chapman. Last report at the half, it was 6-3 Stars leading the Panthers. Good one in the first overtime between Union County and Broome. Those two teams are knotted up at 22. Dillon bounces back, as we speculated they might during Sports Talk a bit earlier tonight, as they blow out Ainer at home, 49-7 the final score. The Wildcats bouncing back. Lake City with a nice win tonight over Atlantic Collegiate. They win 30-10. Woodland over Andrews, 13-0. That game a halftime score. Meantime, Timberland also at the half leading Academic Magnet by a score of 47-0. Sherrall leads Pageland Central late in that ball game. Central Pageland trailing Sherrall 30-13. Final score, in Andrew Jackson defeats Chesterfield tonight by a score of 32-14. It was Powdersville 33, Christchurch Episcopal 14. That game in the fourth quarter. Final score from Crescent. They defeat West Oak 56-7 tonight. Clinton in the fourth quarter out in front of Chesney by a score of 46-14. Landrum in the fourth quarter leads Blacksburg by a score of 28-6. Final score, Catawba Ridge 14, Indian Land 7. Also a final, Beaufort 23, Colleton County nothing. Good one in the Midlands tonight. Lower Richland sneaks past Wilson 23-20. South Florence goes on the road and they defeat Lakewood 42-12. Gilbert 35, Midland Valley 28. That game at last report in the fourth quarter. Gray Collegiate shuts out Airport tonight 50-0. Lancaster 42, Dreer 33, that game in the fourth quarter. AC Flora 30, Richland Northeast 7, that one in the third quarter. Final score, Daniel 54, Travelers Rest nothing. Greer 35, Blue Ridge 14 in the fourth quarter of play. West Side out in front of Emerald, also in the fourth, 34-14. Somerville blanking James Island 26-0. And let's see if we've got a few more in. Told you about Great Collegiate, their win. Told you about Lancaster's win. Daniel shuts out Travelers Rest. I think we mentioned that. Wren knocks off Fountain Inn tonight, 49-12. And let's see, West Side in the third quarter out in front of Emerald. That game has gone to the fourth, 34-14. Lucy G. Beckham, 38. Stratford, 35. That a tight one in the fourth quarter. And Westwood has defeated Spring Valley tonight 27-0. North Myrtle Beach doubles up Socastee this evening along the Grand Strand 28-14. Irmo beats River Bluff 35-14. Ridgeview much better tonight than Lugoff Elgin, 50-0 the final score of the Blazers over the Demons. Meantime, Rock Hill 51, Nation Ford 29. That game in the fourth quarter. Wondering if Burns' defense would be able to hang on against a high-powered Gaffney team, and that has been the case tonight. Really good game in the Upstate tonight. They're in the first overtime. Gaffney out in front of Burns by a score of 9-6. Northwestern rolls past Fort Mill tonight, 65-6. Fort Dorchester beats up on West Ashley, 34-21 down in Charleston. Got Dutch Fork shutting out White Knoll. It's a final 6-0. Some really good defensive games here this evening. We've got both on either end of the spectrum. Spartanburg in the fourth quarter out in front of Dorman, 23-7. Myrtle Beach has just finished off Conway along the Grand Strand, 35-6. Fourth quarter score, Chapin out in front of Lexington, 32-26. Carolina Forest, no problem tonight with St. James, 62-14. Panthers with the big win. Wando knocks off Cane Bay, 28-21. Wade Hampton of Greenville falls to Bowling Springs, 55-14. West Florence, 5 points better tonight than Blythewood, 19-14. The Knights go on the road for the win. Goose Creek defeats Berkeley 13-10. I'm sure David Shelton will have a good recap of that one for us. Ashley Ridge putting it on stall tonight, 72-0. The final score there. In the upstate battle of two rivals, Malden out in front of Easley. That game 29-28. Mavericks in front. That one in the fourth quarter. Skisa final, Hilton Head Christian beat First Baptist 44-14. Magby a winner tonight over C.A. Johnson 33-20. Saluda 50, Pelion nothing. That game took place actually yesterday. Also on Thursday night action, Ben Lippen, a 10-6 winner over Heathwood Hall. Saluda over Pelion, 53-0 in Thursday night football. And actually, let's see, that looks like that's about it. Well, let's see, we've got one other score. Swansea, 44-38 winner over Keenan. That game actually on Saturday last week. So that should run down the first part of our scoreboard here tonight on the High School Scoreboard Show presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. 888-898-2525. We will get to reports because we need to hear from you. If you were at any of those games or have a score update you'd like to pass along, we'd love to hear from you. We'll get out to the field. David Shelton set to join us at the bottom of the hour, so a lot to come here tonight. Week 7 of the high school football season underway, and glad to have you along on the High School Scoreboard Show presented by Founders Federal Credit Union here on the Sports Talk Media Network.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Some insurance carriers are based in another state or only have an online presence. Not at Farm Bureau Insurance. They're a local South Carolina company that believes commitment comes with a handshake. Become part of the Farm Bureau Insurance family today by calling Buddy Bridges at 864-984-0413 or stop by the Upstate office at 726 East Main Street in Lawrence.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
Back on the Founders Federal Credit Union High School Scoreboard, Founders Federal Football Friday, of course, relax. You're with Founders. David Shelton will join us after the bottom of the hour, but let's head out into the field and visit with some folks who have either broadcasted, covered, or saw a high school football game tonight. And we'll start with the matchup between Lawrence and Southside as we check in with the voice of the Lawrence Raiders. We say hello to Doug Holliday. Doug's up first here on the high school scoreboard. Good evening, Doug. How do things go with the Raiders and Southside tonight?
Well, good evening, Chris, and that was great comeback music because that was the Raiders fight song. So Lawrence picks up the win tonight, 45-0 over Southside, the first win of the Greg Porta era. We anticipate the first of many, but Raiders came out of the blocks. Just talking to people up here, concerned what we've all been through the last 3 weeks. The guys had very few practices, but came out focused tonight. Scored the first time they had the ball. Got a scoop and score on Southside's first possession, and led 18-0 at the end of the first quarter. That scoop and score was Zamar Jones. He had 20 yards on that return. Havaye Suber in the second half had a 51-yard punt return. Will Thompson, our quarterback, didn't pile up a whole lot of yardage, but had 3 rushing touchdowns. Just a well-rounded victory for the Raiders tonight. What we've been looking for all season long, and the best time to start pulling it together as the region schedules begin. We take off, head up to Wren next Friday night. But again, a good night here in Lawrence.
Big shutout, good effort, I would imagine, by the defense tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Didn't give them a whole lot of chance. Red zone's been an issue for us a lot this year, turning the ball over, but able to punch it in every time we were in the red zone tonight, with the exception of a missed field goal late in the game. But a great performance, and just like I said, a well-rounded performance tonight by the Raiders.
Outstanding, Doug. It's great to hear from you. Congrats to the Raiders and Coach on his first win at Lawrence, and we'll talk back to you next Friday.
Thanks, Chris.
Yes, sir. That's Doug Holliday with the Lawrence Raiders. Let's stay out on the phone lines here on the High School Scoreboard Show and check in with Taylor Novinger, who covered Crestwood tonight. Taylor, I hope I got your last name right. If not, I apologize.
No, you're fine. Novinger. Yeah, you're fine. Crestwood lost 41-7 to Hartsville. Hartsville came out. They kicked off to Crestwood. Crestwood got the ball. They had it in plus territory on the 40. Couldn't do anything with it. Had trouble moving the football. And Hartsville had a couple wide receiver screens that scored some touchdowns early. And Crestwood got the ball back. They were moving the ball. They had some self-inflicted wounds with penalties, fumbles. Had a turnover that set up the Red Foxes inside the 10-yard line for an easy score. So it's 20-0 at half. Crestwood comes out, and they do nothing on offense again, and they punted several times. One time they coughed up the football again. There were so many fumbles in this game, probably 3 or 4 from the nights, that I lost count. It was that many. Rough night for Crestwood. Jadis Williams had a really good game against Wilson, the quarterback. I was really impressed with the Hartsville Red Foxes. And their defensive line is very stout. They had at least 3 or 4 sacks. They're about 275 pounds each. They've got some big men up front.
Yeah, Taylor, Hartsville's got some talent, especially on that defensive side. Were they causing the problems, or was it more self-inflicted wounds by the Knights tonight?
I'd say a little bit of both. Nothing up the middle was going for Crestwood. They tried to hit the quick, easy throws and everything on the perimeter, and that was the only time they moved the football, because nothing was up the middle. And Crestwood didn't have a couple penalties when they'd be moving the football, but those defensive linemen up front are going to cause huge problems for people down the road. And I think Hartsville's going to make some noise in the playoffs.
Taylor, what's next for Crestwood? Where are you guys next Friday?
They've got a bye week, a much-needed bye week, as they are 3-5, and then they'll go to Darlington and Lakewood in the season.
Should be fun down the stretch as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. Taylor, thank you for the report. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. You too. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the update on Crestwood and Hartsville. And, yeah, that Hartsville team, especially on the defensive side of the coin, I've heard people say they're about as good and salty on that side as Hartsville's been in a while, and obviously proved it here tonight. All right, 888-898-2525. If you'd like to be on the High School Scoreboard Show here tonight, chance for you to give us an update on some of the scores, some of the games that you saw. And certainly we will catch up with David Shelton here in about 10 minutes or so, get his take on things. And also, of course, Scott Early set to join us after 11 o'clock. We head up to the upstate, check in on the Dorman Cavaliers as we welcome Justin Mathis aboard. Justin, good evening. How you doing?
I'm good, Chris. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. It's a rare treat to get to sit in the seat that Phil Kornblut has held pretty firm for 40 years. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good tonight.
Great to hear from you. And, unfortunately, a tough night for the Dorman Cavaliers in the city rivalry between the Cavaliers and the Spartanburg Vikings. It was a very tightly contested game throughout the first half, Chris, but in the second 2 quarters, the Vikings just kind of came up with some key plays. I mean, looking at the stats here, Trenton Lynch had a big night for Spartanburg, 17 carries, 114 yards on the ground. I mean, but then you look across the way, Nick Means did a great job for the Cavaliers in the running game, 12 carries, 86 yards. Also, Najee Fowler going to the first half for a minute, Spartanburg had just scored to go up 7-0. That was when the first points were scored with 5:56 to go in the half. And then Dorman goes on an 80-yard drive that chewed up 4 minutes and 34 seconds. And then Najee Fowler carried the workload on that drive. And then also there's a big catch by Aaron Gassaway that set up a 3-yard Corey Anderson touchdown run, tied the game at 7. But then Will Love, probably some would say one of the best kickers in the state, comes up with a long field goal from 45 yards out to make it 10-7 Vikings. And then in the fourth quarter, Spartanburg kind of put the game away. One touchdown off of a turnover from Cam Smith in a wildcat formation. And then Chris Sutton with the exclamation point with 3:41 to play and provides the final score of 23-7 in favor of the Vikings over the Cavaliers tonight here in Roebuck. But Cavaliers get to stay home next week as they host Wade Hampton Region 2 5A action.
Justin, considering what the upstate has dealt with the last couple of weeks, and you got Spartanburg and Dorman, what was the atmosphere like for the fans up there? Finally got to get back out and watch a high school football game tonight.
I mean, and personally for me, Chris, I was excited going into this. This was my first time
Sure.
getting to see the city rivalry. I've grown up here in Spartanburg County. I've read about it in the newspaper growing up. You know, I've seen the highlights on TV, and the atmosphere here was electric. You could tell the people were just chomping at the bit, ready to kind of get back into that routine that we've all come to know here during the fall. And I mean, it was a great crowd on hand here at Cavalier Stadium. I mean, I have no complaints about the crowd. They were in it and they were engaged until the game was pretty much decided. I mean, and also I want to shout out to the student sections. They were both very lively tonight. I rolled up here to Cavalier Stadium near 5:30, saw a bunch of the Dorman faithful wearing their overalls, including a lot of the students. So that was pretty neat to see. I've always heard about some of the traditions in this rivalry, and it's pretty neat to get to experience that firsthand as someone who's kind of fairly new to the 5A level of football here in South Carolina.
Well, we all are for the most part. You know, 5A is new, but Spartanburg Dorman not. That's a great rivalry, and it looked like a pretty good game. Justin, we appreciate the update tonight.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Hey, be blessed, brother.
Thank you, sir. You do the same. All right, so Spartanburg gets past Dorman tonight, 23-7 in the Spartanburg City rivalry. That obviously a really, really good game. Sticking with some of the other upstate scores, in case you're just tuning in, Abbeville shut out Calhoun Falls tonight, 56-0. Crescent a 56-7 winner over West Oak. Daniel a shutout win over Travelers Rest, 54-0. You had Northwestern 65, Fort Mill 6. Lawrence, as you heard from Doug Holliday a little bit earlier, 45-0 winner tonight over Southside. So a lot of points being scored by teams that have been cooped up for the last couple of weeks, and they came out and got after it offensively. So good to see there. In the Midlands, a couple of scores to pass along to you. McBee defeats C.A. Johnson 33-22. Hunter County Tyler shutout win over Calhoun County 28-0. Strom Thurmond, no problem with American Leadership 53-0. Gray Collegiate a 50-0 win over Airport. Let's see, Saluda defeated Pelion 53-0. PD Grand Strand, Sherrall a winner over Pageland Central 30-13. Latta 46-0 winner over Hemingway. Myrtle Beach 35, Conway 6. North Myrtle Beach 28, Socastee 14. We'll come back and get some more reports. Also, David Shelton set to join us, and we'll roll on. My High School Scoreboard Show presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders, and you're on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11, right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 AM. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
Wake up with a smile every morning. It's Mornings with Casey and Kev, your dynamic duo bringing you laugh news and the perfect start to your day. Join the fun weekdays at 7 a.m. Mornings with Casey and Kev, a delightful way to start your day.
With SRN News, I'm Ron Taylor. The Lebanese army says that an Israeli airstrike killed 2 of its soldiers, wounding 3 others, an incident that further entangled Lebanon's official army in the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah militants in Lebanon. Florida residents were repairing the damage caused by Hurricane Milton and cleaning up debris. The storm smashed through coastal communities, destroying homes, flooding streets, and spawned a barrage of deadly tornadoes. At least 10 people are dead. Boeing is announcing layoffs. The giant aircraft maker said Friday it will lay off about 10% of its workers. It's about 17,000 people in the coming months. The company's been losing money for more than 5 years and now is dealing with a strike that has shut down factories in the Seattle area. Former President Trump spending time earlier today in a Colorado suburb away from battleground states, continuing to double down on his pledge to carry out the largest deportation operation in the history of this country. His rally in Aurora was followed by a massive rally in Reno. This is SRN News.
If you are 65 or old... This is Ian with AccuClean. Regular carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning isn't just about keeping them looking beautiful and smelling fresh. It can also help to extend their life, which in turn saves money in the long run. Check out AccuClean today for our other services, such as mattress sanitation, odor and enzyme treatments, and leather cleaning and conditioning. Call AccuClean today at 803-957-1202 for all the cleaning needs and more. Once again, that's AccuClean at 803-957-1202. I'll see you soon.
The Panthers have been snake bit with a multitude of injuries, but that provides opportunities for some other young players to show what they can do heading into Sunday's game versus Atlanta. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
The only way to be your best self is with your best health. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live with Atrium Health.
Panthers have been hit with injuries, big and small, from season-ending injuries to team captains like Derek Brown and Shaq Thompson to week-to-week type ones such as Taylor Moton. With each injury comes opportunity for others. Brady Christensen steps in at center for Austin Corbett, ironically after having suffered the same torn biceps injury himself last season. Christensen on the keys for the offensive line, with Yash Nyman also moving into a starting role at right tackle.
The communication part, walk through if something's not exactly communicated like they want, or we're on a little bit different page, just like be like, hey, what's going on here? What's going through your brain? What do you want to hear? Just having that open dialogue, that open communication, building that communication in every rep is huge. Over communicate, in walkthroughs and in practice and all that. When it comes to the game, it's easy.
Top wide receiver Adam Thielen will be out for a few more weeks. Among those getting more reps is rookie free agent Jalen Coker, who led Carolina with 4 catches for 68 yards last week. Quarterback Andy Dalton says Coker caught their eye early on.
We were seeing flashes, not only in training camp, but then once we got into the season, things that he was doing on the scout team. It was kind of like the beginning of his development, and when he's showing flashes there, as soon as he's getting the opportunity, he's making the most of it. I'm excited for him because he's got all the talent in the world.
I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
This is Ian with AccuClean. Regular carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning isn't just about keeping them looking beautiful and smelling fresh. It can also help to extend their life, which in turn saves money in the long run. Check out AccuClean today for our other services, such as mattress sanitation, odor and enzyme treatments, and leather cleaning and conditioning. Call AccuClean today at 803-957-1202 for all your carpet cleaning needs and more. Once again, that's AccuClean at 803-957-1202. I'll see you soon.
Back we are on the high school scoreboard show here on the Sports Talk Media Network, presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Chris Bergen sitting in tonight for Phil Kornblut. Week 7 of the high school football season. We'll get back out to the field and get some more reports on games in progress, wrapping up. Also a complete rundown of the scoreboard in a little while, but we welcome back to Sports Talk David Shelton, the co-host of this program, guy who's sat alongside Phil Kornblut forever. And now for the first time gets to sit alongside me. I only hope, David, I can do anywhere close to half as good a job as Phil.
You can't do any worse.
That's why I said half as good a job. So tell us about your game tonight. You saw a big Skeesa matchup down in the Low Country.
Yeah, it was a very competitive game. Porter-Gaud come out with the win, 28-12. It was a lot closer than that. It was 14-12 at half, and both teams really settled in defensively, and it became a defensive struggle. And then Porter-Gaud scored, took the lead, made it a 9-point lead. Then Northwood got to throwing the ball and pick six at the end of the game, made the margin 16 points, but it was a lot closer than that. Good game, good football game.
We have seen, David, just in the early returns tonight around the state, there have been a lot of blowouts and certainly a lot of offense. Now that region play is getting underway, is that a bit of a surprise, or did you anticipate, like, for instance, what we saw tonight from Abbeville? I don't think it's a surprise that they went 56-0, but Northwestern blows out Fort Mill. We've seen a lot of big scores. Daniel shuts out Travelers Rest in the Upstate, just to name a couple of games. Are you surprised that some of the games aren't a little more competitive now that we're in the region play?
It goes week to week. This was matchups. Some of these teams that got blown out just don't match up with Daniel and Northwestern and Abbeville. That's what this was. It doesn't say anything about the region or anything. It's just matchups. I mean, these are really good teams. So you're going to see some scores like that. Phil likes to call them interstate scores, so you'll see some.
Yeah, I haven't got an Interstate 95 yet, thank goodness. But or an Interstate 85. I'm not sure I want to see either one of those. Before we get back out to reports, I wanted to see if you saw the story from last night. It's not in state, but I think it's worthy of mentioning. Josh and I were chatting about it on Sports Talk a little bit earlier. There's a high school football quarterback in Louisiana that threw for 817 yards last night, third highest total in history, and his team actually lost the game in overtime.
Oh, my God. Somebody needs to be fired. I mean, you 800 yards passing and you lose? What I want to know is if that's the third highest, what were the other two? Holy cow.
Yeah, Will Greer of Davidson Day up in North Carolina actually holds the record for 837 yards back in 2012.
Good Lord. I can't even imagine. If I'm the defensive coordinator of the team that's given up 800 yards passing, I'm putting a hit out on the quarterback. I mean, when you get to 600, you better get out of the game or it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, no, I get it. But the problem was, as I mentioned, it was so competitive, they had to evidently leave him in there because the game went to overtime and they lost, despite his 8 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing scores.
That's incredible. He'll be in the transfer portal next week.
And maybe a time or two at the collegiate level as well. All right, David Shelton will be alongside the remainder of the program. Let's head back out to the phones and check in with some of the reporters in the field. And we make a stop up in the lovely haven of Clinton, South Carolina, where a good friend, Monty Dutton, saw Clinton beat up on Chesney tonight. Monty, welcome to the Scoreboard Show. How are you, sir?
I only talk to people that I have a long-time rapport with on this show because people may not know that you and I went on every Tuesday morning for many years, but we talked about NASCAR then. It was a really, I hate to say, don't feel so all alone here, but it was a very lively offensive game because Clinton had 454 yards and Chesney had 330. Chesney, Clinton outrushed and outpassed him, but it was sort of like Chris, you're very familiar with Clinton High School football. Clinton rushed for 276 and passed for 178. A good sign for Clinton is that Tushawn Richardson, Clinton's fine quarterback, he's been mainly handing off and trying to get healthy. He told me after the game he thought with this time off that he'd gone from about 60% to 90%. So that's a real good sign. Javen Cook, Clinton's junior running back, who is a real mini-mite. He's like 5'7", but he's just a fantastic at running back. And he had 129 yards tonight, and I believe that gives him 764 in 6 games. So he's putting up some big numbers. But the Red Devils had had 4 running backs with 25 or more yards. Chesney was more balanced, but they had 4 running backs with 42 or more yards. So I think Chesney came out of this game feeling like they played pretty well. They scored on the last play of the game for the 3rd touchdown to make it 46-21. But another good sign for Clinton, by the way, was their senior place kicker, Lucas Kuykendall, began the season with a hip injury and didn't kick well at all. He was 5 for 5 in extra points and kicked the field goal tonight. So that was a good sign. It was good for him to get, his head straight a little bit and get a little confidence built back in. So the Red Devils played the first team of their classification this year because they're now in 2A Region 1. And the weird statistic about that is that Clinton's first 6 games are against teams they played 367 times in history, although the game with Union was canceled. For the remainder of the schedule in the conference, they have played, this was the 5th game they've ever played against any of the teams they're in the region with now.
Wow.
And they haven't played Blacksburg since 1938. But Chesney they played a couple of times. So it goes from one rivalry after another to teams that they've never played before. So I think that's the unique thing. Of course, the other unique thing about Clinton is that they're in Region 1 in football and Region 3 in everything else. I suspect that there was not a crowd of people in 2A that wanted Clinton in their region. But
I would think so.
So anyway, it was a good start, and I think that Clinton, I was concerned that because they'd missed some time, but the main effect was that Clinton got some injured players healthier, and I think that they looked sharp, so I think that the time off was beneficial to them.
Monty, it's great to hear from you. We appreciate the update, and we'll talk back to you, or at least Phil will, next Friday here on the Scoreboard Show. Thank you, sir.
All right, take care, Chris.
All right, buddy. That's Monty Dutton. David, Monty's kind when he says, I know a good bit about Clinton High School football. I recognize 300 yards rushing for Clinton High School football. I don't recognize a Clinton team throwing for over 100 yards, though.
Yeah, that's an oddity and a rarity, but this team's got some balance. I mean, I picked Clinton when the regions got set and all the classification stuff was done, and I saw Clinton in 2A. I picked them to win the state championship, and I know they lost a couple of games, but they lost to some really. I mean, Woodruff has not lost a game, and they beat them on the last play of the game, and Daniel is Daniel. So I think now that Clinton, I think they'll go through their region unscathed, and then if they can stay healthy, they've got a great shot to get to the finals.
All right, we'll get you an update on the scores that are coming in here momentarily, but let's head back out to the phones on the high school scoreboard presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Hugh Gray joins us now to tell us a little bit more about Newberry and Fox Creek tonight. Hugh, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Good, Chris. Thank you. I'm doing well. Newberry had homecoming tonight. So you know how coaches love homecoming, and Coach Jeter was all excited about it. But Newberry scored on the first three of the first 4 possessions of the game. One of those was helped by a shanked punt deep in Fox Creek territory, and another a blocked punt that gave the Bulldogs first and goal at the 4-yard line. Then a Stephen Joseph interception and return gave Newberry the ball on the Fox Creek 47, and 8 plays later, Newberry quarterback Kenton Caldwell took a keeper off the right side to score a 5-yard touchdown. Then with about 2:11 left in the half, Jamel Howells called a 13-yard toss in the end zone to cap off a 5-play, 61-yard drive. And the game goes to half with Newberry up 34-0. First drive of the second half, Fox Creek turns the ball over on downs, and then Newberry puts together a 60-yard drive that was finished off with a wide receiver screen to Isaiah Glimpse that went 28 yards for another touchdown, bringing the score 41-0. And then with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, Newberry quarterback Bryce Satterwhite hits Cash Brown, who bounces off a defender and takes it another 35 yards for a touchdown. The PAT was no good. Game ends up 47-0 in favor of the Bulldogs. So So big win for the Bulldogs tonight. We were a little bit concerned. Fox Creek was coming in with a pretty nice record. Newberry was sitting at 2-3. Fox Creek was at 5-1, I think it was. So really proud of the way Bulldogs showed up tonight.
That's an impressive showing, and I'm sure the alumni enjoyed that big blowout win on homecoming, right?
Yeah, they like to see that. Yep.
Without a doubt. Hugh, we appreciate the update. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Well, Newberry's off next week, so it'll be 2 weeks. We'll call you about Newberry Keenan.
Very good. Thank you, Hugh.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. How about that one tonight, David? Newberry, a pretty good win, I would think, especially considering how well Fox Creek has played thus far this season.
Yeah, I think Fox Creek's record was indicative of the schedule they played.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they were at the level of Newberry. I didn't see 47-0, but I thought Newberry would get on track. They're a good team. That game with Keenan in 2 weeks will be a very crucial game in their region. So, but not a surprise Newberry won tonight. I think Fox Creek's a competitive team. I think, but they're playing at their level now, and it's going to be a little more difficult to get wins.
A couple other scores, and then we'll take a timeout and continue with reports from you up towards the top of the hour. In the PD Grand Strand, Marlboro County, a 64-15 winner over Georgetown. And David, we probably going to have to start taking the Bulldogs pretty seriously. Marlboro County has turned it around. They're playing some good football. This is sort of reminiscent of the old Dean Boyd type Marlboro County teams, don't you think?
Yeah, if you're not taking Marlboro County seriously yet, you're going to be in for a shocker. This team is very capable of being the best team in the lower state. They got a bunch of transfers in. They got a new coaching staff, got a bunch of transfers in from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They came with their coach, and their roster is a lot different than it was a year ago. They still have some holdovers, but this is a very talented team. Now, the next couple of weeks, we're going to find out. They play Dillon and Loris the next 2 weeks, so it'll get real interesting between those three teams over here the next couple of weeks.
Louisville beat Lee Central 34-14. A game we touched on during Sports Talk a bit earlier. David Manning, no problem tonight with Mullins, 33-6. Maybe not surprised that Manning won, but by the margin?
Yeah, I thought it would be a little closer, but, don't know the details. Could have been turnovers or, whatever, but good win for Manning, and that should be, they should end up winning that region.
All right, a couple from the low country. Told you earlier, Fort Dorchester, a 34-21 win over West Ashley. Ashley Ridge, Blank Stall tonight, 72-0. And Wando, a 28-21 win over Cane Bay. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, get more analysis from David Shelton, also more reports from you in the field, update the scores as they come in. And we'll catch up with Scott early after the top of the hour. Plenty more to come on the High School Scoreboard Show, presented by Founders Federal Credit Union on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We import valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know it's possible to avoid probate court after you die, regardless of what you own? Why put your loved ones through a long, stressful public process when there are better options for your family? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
High School Scoreboard Show, Week 7 of the high school football season. Chris Bergen and Florence David Shelton with us down in the Low Country. And, of course, we've got Josh Cohen back in our Columbia area studios, ready to load you up. If you're at a game tonight, want to call in and report it, we'd love to hear from you at 888-898-2525. Don't forget, tomorrow, live coverage of both South Carolina at Alabama and Clemson at Wake Forest on our Twitter page, Sports Talk SC, and then post-game coverage up on the website at sportstalksc.com. Back to the reports we go, and let's head out. Next, we'll head over to Richard Sally, who took in Orangeburg Prep tonight. Get a SCISA update. Richard, how are you doing? Welcome to the Scoreboard Show tonight.
Doing great. Northside came to visit Orangeburg Prep on homecoming, and they went away with a 23-14 victory. The scoring began in the second quarter. BJ Suits for the Crusaders took a 5-yard run into the end zone to start off with a 6-0 lead. The kick failed, so in the second quarter, 6-0, the Crusaders. Next drive, Orangeburg Prep drove down to the 20-yard line where Walt Mims hit T. Riley on a 20-yard touchdown pass. Mims's extra point was good, so the Indians took a 7-6 lead. Right before halftime, the Crusaders again drove down, and Hudson Schick kicked a 30-yard field goal to take a 9-7 lead into the halftime. Just for homecoming queen Lily Catherine Seckel. Let me throw that out. To begin the second quarter, Crusaders took the opening kick. Sam Burks ran a 36-yard touchdown. Kick was good for a 16-7 lead. Then the following drive, Orangeburg Prep, Walt Mims to T. Riley, again on a 27-yard touchdown. Mims's kick was good, 16-14 going into fourth quarter. Later in the fourth quarter, BJ Suits ran a 30-yard touchdown run. The kick was good, 23-14. Indians' last try, 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They were first and goal inside the 10 and fumbled on the 5-yard line. And that seemed to be the end of the game. So Northside Christian comes away with a hard-fought 23-14 win.
Richard, what's up next for Orangeburg Prep?
Orangeburg Prep is off next week on their bye week. I believe the Crusaders are at 6-1. I'm not sure who they're playing, but they're having a fine season.
Yeah, obviously so. Richard, thank you for the update. Have a great weekend, and we will talk back to you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, sir. Sure will.
Yes, sir. All right, let's head down to the beach and check in with Matt Smith, who is on the call tonight of Socastee and North Myrtle. And unfortunately, the Braves come out on the short end of the stick. Smitty, how did things go tonight between the Chiefs and the Braves?
Well, it was back and forth early between the two clubs. 7-7, then 14-7 North Myrtle, and Socastee looked cooked in the second half, but Jalen McIntyre came up with a 96-yard interception return to tie the game up. But you have to give North Myrtle Beach a lot of credit. The last 2 weeks, they have leaned on Drew Prince. 30 carries, 178 yards a week ago in North Myrtle Beach's first win of the season over Conway. Tonight, 25 carries, 198 yards against Socastee. He was the difference in the second half. They've gotten some linemen healthy in the last couple of weeks, and coaches always tell us, and David Shelton can speak more on this, the coaches always say the region season is its own. Once you start region play, you throw the records out and you start all over, and we've really seen some teams flip the switch here in the last couple of weeks down here in Horry County. Carolina Forest is an example of that. You can absolutely see that North Myrtle Beach has just played differently. It's a different look the last couple of weeks. Drew Prince has been a star. Give their offensive line credit. And so North Myrtle Beach goes to 2-0 in Region 6-5A. Socastee drops to 0-2 in Region 6-5A. And the Braves have a week off. The high school league, they've extended the season by 1 week, and so Myrtle Beach and Socastee are going to move their game to the end of the year, November 8th.
And Smitty, if you don't mind, relay to our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with the situation that Ben Hampton, the head coach at Socastee, is dealing with right now with the illness for his son, who was diagnosed a week or so ago with leukemia, and he's actually taken a leave of absence away from the team. How do you think, clearly it's affected the team, but how do you think it's affected the football program? Certainly being concerned as much as they should be with what is going on with Coach Hampton.
Yeah, Coach Hampton is spending time with his family right now. So Chuck Henderson is the interim coach for the remainder of the season. And obviously, he's being thrust into that role. I think the players, I don't think the players handled it well in terms of football last week. They just didn't give their best performance. Tonight, a much better performance from the team, but look, they're playing with heavy hearts. It's a really difficult thing all the way around from the coaching staff on down. I'm sure it's something they think about a lot during the week. A lot of the last week, the stadium was decked out in orange for leukemia awareness. This, in and of itself, October is Cancer Awareness Month. And so there's just a lot of talk about it surrounding them. So I think it's a difficult situation for the players. I do think they performed well tonight and gave their all. But as you know, Socastee, a program that probably only carries about 46 to 50 healthy players at a time, really thin defensively. And even though North Myrtle Beach doesn't have a big roster, they were able to lean on that defense with a healthy offensive line. And Drew Prince, can't say enough things about him and how he performed. So, yeah, everybody's thinking about what Coach Hampton is going through, and hopefully this week off is coming up at the right time for Socastee.
Smitty, thanks for the update. Safe travels up to Winston-Salem. Enjoy the game tomorrow between Clemson and Wake Forest.
I will. I'm halfway there to Winston-Salem already. I've already gotten all sorts of restaurant recommendations from your friend, Wayne White, who's the voice of North Myrtle Beach. So I've got plenty of coffee shops and restaurants to hit before the noon kickoff tomorrow.
All right, well, enjoy. And, of course, folks, follow along with Smitty's coverage on our Twitter page, Sports Talk SC, and then afterwards, post-game recap at sportstalksc.com. All right, 1 hour in the books. One more to come here on the High School Scoreboard Show. David Shelton will hang around with us as well, and we'll get you a complete rundown of the scoreboard, get some of the new finals that we have in, and much more as we roll on Week 7 of the high school football season here on the Sports Talk Media Network.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Ron Taylor. Former President Donald Trump hosting a huge rally in Reno, Nevada earlier tonight on the heels of his visit to Colorado to drive his anti-immigration message.
Donald Trump detoured from key battleground states Friday to visit a Denver suburb that's been in the news over illegal immigration. Colorado reliably votes Democratic statewide, but Trump came to Aurora to highlight his anti-immigration message. He said he plans to launch a deportation effort called Operation Aurora.
We will send elite squads of ICE, Border Patrol, and federal law enforcement officers to hunt down, arrest, and deport every last illegal alien gang member until there is not a single one left.
Trump called for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. I'm Norman Hall.
Also at townhall.com, 8 people are dead, many more injured, but Florida residents are thankful Hurricane Milton was not as bad as been feared.
People are pretty pleased with the way Florida does this, and it's not our first rodeo. I mean, we had Helene a couple of weeks ago and numerous storms over the past 3 to 5 years. So I think people are used to it. They know what to expect, and they are pretty happy.
Roger P. Schulman, news director for Stadia in Tampa, says heroic rescuers and rescues have been carried out by many first responders.
An apartment complex suddenly started flooding in a flash flood, and they were getting calls that people were having trouble getting out. They finally got there and found that some of these apartments, they had water up to the ceiling, and they had to get these people out. They rescued 500 people from this complex.
A military investigation has concluded that 2 Navy SEALs drowned as they tried to climb aboard a ship carrying illicit Iranian-made weapons to Yemen because of training failures and a lack of understanding about what to do after a fall into deep, turbulent waters. You'll find more online at townhall.com. I'm Ron Taylor.
If you understand the impact this election may have on their retirement savings, in less than 30 days, our entire economy could face a monumental shift that could destroy a huge amount of value many Americans have stored in their 401ks or IRAs. In times like these, the most trusted store of wealth in human history stands out: physical gold and silver. Many Americans have looked to True Gold Republic for help. They specialize in helping those with a 401k, IRA, or other retirement accounts convert their stocks and bonds into physical gold and silver to protect their hard-earned savings. True Gold is offering listeners a free copy of their Election Gold Protection Kit today. To claim yours, call 800-300-GOLD. This information is free and might very well save your comfortable retirement. By acting before the election, you can still make a tax and penalty-free commitment with the help of True Gold's award-winning team. Call 800-300-GOLD. That's 800-300-GOLD. True Gold Republic is not a financial advisor. Consult with your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-300-GOLD.
Workers at a coal mine in southwest Pakistan have gone on strike after a gunman fatally shot at least 20 miners.
What we understand is that the workers in this mine were in the accommodation overnight. This happened just after midnight. They were then rounded up by the attackers, who then opened fire on them. Now, we have not heard anything from any group claiming this particular attack, but people are thinking and suggesting it could potentially be the Baluch Liberation Army, the BLA, which is a militant separatist group that operates in the area, has previously claimed attacks in the area. As I say, at the moment, no claim yet.
BBC correspondent Caroline Davis reporting. 2 evacuation ships have docked in Turkey, bringing Turkish citizens and their families back from Lebanon amid an escalation of the war in the Middle East. The 2 vessels were part of a convoy of 5 ships that departed Turkey Wednesday, carrying some 300 tons of humanitarian aid to Lebanon. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev, 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
It's a Friday night in South Carolina, and that means high school football. Welcome to the Founders Federal High School Scoreboard with Phil Kornbluth, David Shelton. We've got all the scores from across the state, plus game reports and interviews with coaches. The High School Scoreboard is proudly brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now, let's head to the Scoreboard Studios in Columbia. Here's Phil Kornbluth.
Actually, Phil has the night off celebrating Yom Kippur. Chris Bergen sitting in Phil's seats over here in Florence. David Shelton with us down in the Low Country, and you tonight on the High School Scoreboard Show, Week 7 of the high school football season as we inch ever closer to the start of the playoffs. Thrilled to have you with us here tonight. We'll run down the scores, what we have, starting to get a lot of finals in just a couple of moments. But first, I promised him last night, or actually earlier this morning, and I want to make sure we get out to the phone lines to check in on Myrtle Beach and Conway, the battle for the victory bell. I do not want to get tossed out of the press box next week because I made him wait on hold too long. We say hello to the voice of the Seahawks, color analyst for Coastal Carolina football, my partner, your friend, Lane Harris. Hello, sir.
Oh, I'm tired. How about you, Chris?
I'm fired up, brother. I have listened to this show for probably 30 years and never had the chance to host it. So I am thrilled. I'm running on adrenaline right now.
It's gonna take a religious event to get Phil Cornbluth out of that seat. I guarantee you that.
And it has.
Exactly. Well, Myrtle Beach Seahawks got off to a great start tonight, Chris. They scored on their first 5 possessions to jump out to a 35-0 lead and held on at the end for a 35-6 win over Conway, as you said, for the Battle of the Victory Bell. Mickey Wilson has now won 11 of the last 15 Victory Bell matchups against his alma mater at Conway High School. And tonight it was just a all-around game in all 3 phases of the game. Gibson Goodrow, their senior quarterback, was 10 of 15 with no interceptions, threw for a touchdown and 150 yards. John Simmons had 4 catches for 86 yards. A 6'4", 205-pound senior getting his game back on track. But the hero tonight for the Myrtle Beach Seahawks was Michael Cohen, coming off of 113 yards last week and 2 touchdowns in the win over St. James. Cohen just upped that ante with an 18-carry, 174 yards, and a touchdown in the game in which his offensive line, Anthony Gregory, Quan Carroll, Andrew Wells, Leighton Petskovic, and Kenny Gregory, the 2 Gregory boys are the bookend tackles on this offensive line. They were just carving gaping holes in this Conway 3-4 defense. And it was many times that Cohen carried the ball where nobody touched him until he was 5 to 6 yards past the line of scrimmage. And that strong rushing attack forced them to come up in the box to cut off Cohen, and that opened up the passing game for Gibson Goodrow and John Simmons. Also, Israel Brown, a starting cornerback on this team, actually caught a beautiful 18-yard touchdown catch. John Kelly, their starting inside receiver, they've been running Simmons and Israel Brown at this inside receiver position, and Simmons had a big night, and Israel Brown caught his first touchdown pass of his high school career. Again, normally a defensive back, so to get him on the board. And Antonio Brown, out of that Rhino package, that short yardage package that run, had 8 carries for 47 yards and 2 touchdowns. And they also executed a beautiful onside kick to perfection after a personal foul penalty on one of the PATs after the Seahawks' 3rd touchdown to get them another quick possession, and they scored within 17 seconds of the 3rd touchdown to put the 4th touchdown on the board. It was 35-0 at halftime, and the Seahawks subbed liberally through the second half. The quarterback for Conway, I don't know if you've seen this kid, Noah Legg, a 6'2", 205-pound sophomore. He and his wide receiver, Jordan Jenkins, a 6'4", 190-pound junior, hooked up for about 6 receptions tonight. Noah Legg is going to be a name you're going to keep in your mind for the future. This kid's going to be good. I'm really impressed with the way he looked out on the field. He didn't have a whole lot of blocking up front. The Seahawks got into the backfield, a lot of tackles for loss. I think they sacked Legg at least 2 or 3 times. And this Conway team fell to 1-6 and 0-2 in the region. The Myrtle Beach Seahawks, meanwhile, jump up to 4-3, get on the positive side of that win-loss column, and now, more importantly, 2-0 in the region with an off week next week before they host Carolina Forest coming to Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium.
Lane, did I hear correctly that Myrtle Beach rushed for almost 200 yards in the first half?
You heard correctly. Cohen had 160 at the half. So he didn't spend a whole lot of time on the field in the second half. And so, you know, a lot of folks out there think Mickey Wilson loves to throw the football, but he's adapted his play calling very well to the personnel that he has. And Myrtle Beach is hitting right now on all cylinders in big chunks in the rushing yard. Amari Brown is another quick kind of a scat back that they run at wide receiver. They'll bring him through the backfield and run speed sweeps and little pitch passes to him. He had about 80 yards of total offense tonight. So they've got a lot of good personnel, and the offensive line. They came into the game only giving up 11 sacks on the year. They didn't touch Gibson Goodrow tonight. He had all day to throw back there when he threw for only 15 times in this ball game. But this offensive line is doing a job both in the running and the passing game, carving holes for running backs and protecting the quarterback.
Lane, we appreciate it. Go get some rest, my friend, and we'll talk to you next week.
That is exactly what I'm going to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lane. Voice of the Myrtle Beach Seahawks. Got to see them retain the victory bell with a big win tonight over Conway. We bring David Shelton back in. What's next for Mickey Wilson? Are you going to break out the wishbone now?
Mickey is going to do whatever he has to do to win football games, and you know, the quarterback Goodrow is a good player, but if they can run the football and not rely on Goodrow to throw, 30, 35 times a game and just and throw when they want to throw, not when they have to throw. I think, that game with Carolina Forest in 2 weeks is, that's a huge game. I mean, I was going to say we might decide the region, but North Myrtle Beach is now 2-0. So, but that'll be a huge game. The winner of that game obviously will be in the driver's seat.
All right, 888-898-2525. If you were at a game tonight, like to phone in a report, we'd love to hear from you. David's got his analysis ready to go. And let's run down a complete check of the finals that we have in thus far here on the high school scoreboard. We'll get to SCISA scores in just a couple of moments. Let's start in the upper state. St. Joseph's and Carolina, they're going to actually play tomorrow. Also tomorrow, Greenwood and Greenville set to be played on Saturday, as is the case with Hillcrest and J.L. Mann. Of those three, David, games set to play tomorrow, the Greenville and Greenwood game really looks appetizing to me. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge game, and so is that Hillcrest Hillcrest J.L. Mann. I mean, that's two playoff type games right there, and we're not even into the region yet.
All right, finals in from tonight. Mountain View beat Chapman 27-9. Powdersville 33. Christchurch 14. Clinton 46. Chesney 21. Crescent 56. West Oak 7. Daniel shuts out Travelers Rest 54-0. Spartanburg a nice win over Dorman tonight 23-7. West Side gets past Emerald 41-17. Northwestern 65. Fort Mill 6. Fountain Inn falls to Wren 49-12. Lamar blanks Great Falls 47-0. Greer 49. Blue Ridge 21. Lawrence shuts out Southside. I believe we mentioned 45, actually 49-0 for the Raiders. Their win and the first for their head coach Greg Porter. Meantime, at least at Lawrence, Walhalla a 20-7 win over Pendleton. Seneca 42. Berea 0. Southside Christian falls to Palmetto 21-10. Boiling Springs 55. Wade Hampton 14. Where Shoals blanks McCormick tonight 47-0. Whitmire 38. Dixie 18. And South Point 42. York 0. David, which of the teams of those scores tonight impressed you the most out of the upper state?
Actually, I didn't hear an upset. I didn't hear a game that I thought was going to be close. It was pretty much the favorites, the heavy favorites won big. We talked about Fountain Inn start on Sports Talk tonight, and I kind of thought Wren might be a difficult task, and it turns out they were much better.
Got one other final in from the upper state. Lancaster wins over Dreer 42-33. In the Midlands tonight, Strom Thurmond blanks American Leadership 53-0. Batesburg Leesville 42, 96-14. Blackville Hilda 50. Wagner Sally 6. West Florence gets past Blythewood 19-14. C.A. Johnson 22-33. Magby with the win, though. Magby defeats C.A. Johnson by 11. Hunter Conyers Tyler 28. Calhoun County 0. nothing. Gray Collegiate blanks Airport tonight 50-0. Keenan 44, Silver Bluff 15. South Florence a 42-12 winner over Lakewood. Lower Richland just gets past Wilson 23-20. Heard earlier that Newberry defeated Fox Creek 47-0. Saluda beats Pelion 53-0. And Williston Elko 6 points better tonight than Ridge Spring Minetta 20-14. Any surprises there, David, in the Midlands tonight?
No, I just took note that, Saluda and Batesburg and Strom Thurmond were some of those schools in that area that didn't play for a couple of weeks. They just now, I think Saluda just now got power back. So they were all three very impressive in their wins tonight. Games that they should have won, but it doesn't appear they had any rustiness from the layoff.
How about the win by West Florence tonight? A good win for them, 19-14 over Blythewood.
Yeah, I mean, that's a game they needed to win. They're probably that's two teams that are pretty evenly matched, and either one of them needed, it would have been a good win for either team. So that's a good win for West Florence.
All right, PD Grand Strands. Woodland knocks off Andrews tonight 19-6. Lake City a 30-10 win over Atlantic Collegiate. Lakeview 28, Carvers Bay 6. Meantime, Sherrall 30, Central of Pageland 13. Dillon bounces back with a 49-7 win over Ainer. David, you sort of hinted at this during the Sports Talk segment that we have with you each and every Friday. You thought Dillon would have to bounce back, and they clearly did. They did not want to get that third regular season loss tonight.
Yeah, they showed up tonight and obviously didn't turn the ball over, didn't have mistakes and penalties, and they were the better team on paper, so they did what they were supposed to do.
Marlboro County 54, Georgetown 15. Hannah Pamplico a 42-7 win over Green Sea Floyds. Latta shuts out Hemingway tonight 46-0. Louisville a 34-14 win over Lee Central. Manning 33, Mullins 6, Myrtle Beach 35. 6 winners over Conway to win the victory bell tonight. North Myrtle Beach doubles up Socastee 28-14. St. James falls to Carolina Forest 62-14. Loris 40, Waccamaw 14, and Hartsville a 41-7 win over Crestwood. And David, earlier we got a report on that Hartsville-Crestwood game, and the Crestwood folks just awfully impressed with the Hartsville defense, especially their defensive line. What do you know about that unit?
Yeah, well, they're good on defense, and their line is good. Their line is very good. Their linebackers are really good. Their linebackers make a lot of play, and then they got Demarion Coe back there in the secondary, who is well known for returning kicks and punts and blocking kicks and punts. I mean, he's the best in the state at doing that, and they're a very solid team. I wonder offensively if they're doing enough. I mean, they score 41 points, but they're going to rely heavily on that defense once they get to the postseason.
And how about what Socastee is dealing with? You can certainly, I'm sure, empathize with the Socastee family, with Coach Hampton's son sick with leukemia and trying to deal with that during the middle of football season. How difficult do you think that is on that football team?
Oh, I think it's tough because, when you've had a coach there for a couple of years, it becomes family. So every one of those guys, it's like their little brother is sick. And, it's tough for them. They'll battle through it. It's very unfortunate, but it's unfortunate for the young man, for the kid. Football is totally secondary. If they don't win another game, it's not that important as it is that kid gets the treatment and gets healthy, and then Coach Hampton can come back, I guess next year and just do what he does best.
All right, we'll slide out for a quick timeout. We'll come back, finish up the scoreboard, what we have. We've got Low Country scores to come, plus SCISA scores still to come. David's analysis, more reports as well. So we take you up until 12 o'clock tonight on the High School Scoreboard Show, Week 7 of the high school football season. Plenty more to come. Chris Bergen here in Florence, David Shelton in the Low Country, Josh Cohen over in Columbia. You be a part of the program tonight. We'd love to hear from you on the Sports Talk Media Network. It's the High School Scoreboard Show presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Farm Bureau insurance agents live and work right in Saturday. They're not at the end of 800 number thousands of miles away. The personalized attention, competitive rates, and a reputation for fast, fair claim service sets Farm Bureau Insurance apart from the competition. For your auto, home, and life insurance needs, trust Farm Bureau Insurance. In Clinton and Lawrence, give Buddy Bridges a call at 864-984-0413 or stop by the office at 726 East Main Street in Lawrence to see how local makes a difference.
Founders Federal Credit Union believes in empowering future generations, helping to provide our youth a smart start as they begin their financial journey. Discover Smart Start by Founders. Start off with Smart Start savings with a low balance of just $5. Teach responsible spending with a free debit card, text alerts, and no minimum balance. Jumpstart a lifetime of saving and investing with a Smart Start 12-month certificate featuring flexible deposits. Start with just $100 and add more deposits at any time. Finally, dive in deeper with fun educational resources. Founders is excited to team up with you with resources and support to give our youth a smart start towards a brighter tomorrow. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hostetler Brown. Helping an aging loved one arrange for their care can be one of the most difficult things you will ever do. Fortunately, you don't have to navigate this maze alone. Lawyer Lisa's knowledgeable life care team can lead you down the right path. Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallion plated for date night, or burgers with the family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
Back on the high school scoreboard show on the Sports Talk Media Network, working through week number 7 of the high school football season, going through the complete scoreboard as we have it right now. We stopped off in the Low Country and give you an update on some of those scores. Somerville blanks James Island tonight, 26-0. Branchville beats Baptist Hill, 38-20. Goose Creek a 3-point winner over Berkeley tonight, 13-10. May River 35, Bishop England 8. Buford shuts out Colleton County, 23-0. Fort Dorchester 34, West Ashley 21. Porter Gow, a game that David Shelton saw earlier tonight, defeats Northwood 28-12. North Charleston over Oceanside Academy. David, I'm assuming this score is correct. It looks like North Charleston hit a 2-run home run in the 9th to pull out a 6-4 win tonight over Oceanside Academy.
No, Oceanside won that game like 48-6.
Aha. Okay, the 8 is missing. That makes a little more sense. That would have been impressive, though, even in a loss, to get 2 safeties.
Yeah, it would have been very impressive. It would have been very impressive if North Charleston had beaten Oceanside Academy.
So 48-6, you believe that was that final?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
very good.
I saw it on
Orangeburg. Oh, got you. Orangeburg Wilkinson 21, Hanahan 17, Colleton Prep 30, Patrick Henry 19, Philip Simmons 50, Burke 8, Ashley Ridge no problem with Stall 72-0, and Timberland beats Academic Magnet 47-14, Wando 28, Cane Bay 21. A couple of good ball games. David, I wanted to get your impression on the Goose Creek win over Berkeley tonight.
Yeah, that one was a little bit of a surprise. I thought Berkeley was playing extremely well over the last several weeks. and Goose Creek was without their best player, and their defense showed up. I would never have bet. I would have lost a lot of money had I bet that Berkeley would only score one touchdown tonight. They just are much better offensively than that. But I got to hear the very end of the game on the radio after I left my game and was in the car. And I think the radio guy said Berkeley had 19 penalties. And I don't care how good you are. If you got 19 penalties, you're probably not going to win.
How is that possible in a 48-minute game?
That's a lot of penalties, and I saw a lot of penalties tonight. Not as many as I've seen, but I told Phil a couple of weeks ago when Somerville played Goose Creek, they combined for probably 35 penalties, and there was about 15 holding calls. Because I made the comment that the old adage is you could call holding on every play. Well, I thought that crew was trying to prove that because they called it on just about every play.
Yeah, those are no fun to watch. I can promise you that. We told you a bit earlier that West Florence defeated Blythewood by a final of 19-14. Well, we've got our good friend Lou Bezek from the state newspaper, their prep sports coordinator, on the line now. He's going to fill us in on the details. Louis, great to hear from you. How you doing on this Friday night?
Pretty good. How you guys doing, Chris and Dave?
We're doing great, my
Doing
friend.
good.
How was the ball game tonight? You saw a very competitive game, it appears.
Yeah, it was back and forth. Lot of strong defense and a couple big plays. West Florence jumped out to a 13-0 lead. Blythewood got it to 13-7, and then took the lead early on their first possession in the third quarter on a pass from Johnny Collins. The TD pass wide open. Ben Hendricks, and it was 14-13, kind of back and forth, and then Blythewood made a blunder. Collins was back to pass, and he was scrambling around, probably should have just threw it away, and then West Florence forced the fumble back at the goal line, and Tab returned it for a touchdown, made it 19-14. Both teams had Blythewood had some chances. Their defense kept them in it. Couple of fourth down stops, and West Florence went for it, and they stopped them a couple times, and it looked like they were going to stop them again, get the ball back with about 3 minutes left. But West Florence tried a fake punt just inside their 50, and it worked. And they were able to pretty much put the game away. Blythewood got the ball back with 10 seconds left, but they were back at their own 10 and had no timeouts. So a big win for West Florence, especially in the region, coming off a loss to Sumter, and then they got Ridgeview next week. So much needed win for West Florence. Tough loss for Blythewood, who got now they go to Sumter next week, and then after a bye week they go to finish out the regular season against Ridgeview. So tough loss for sure.
Lou, David said earlier when we went over that score, he felt like that was one, not only was it a good win for West, it was one that West Florence needed to win, considering where their standing is in the region. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. Especially that region, I think maybe 5 teams could get in, though, with Spring Valley down. Westwood getting a big win tonight, got their second region win. So, yeah, they definitely needed that win tonight, and definitely will help the RPI, especially with Blythewood with 6-1 coming in. So definitely will help them playoff positioning for sure.
Lou, we appreciate the update as always, my friend. Have a great weekend, and talk back to you next week.
All right, guys.
It's Lou Bezek of the state newspaper dropping by with a report on West Florence and Blythewood. As we told you earlier, the Knights able to squeeze one out against Blythewood earlier this evening. Some Skeesa scores to pass along before we hit the bottom of the hour update. Thomas Hayward, a 48-6 win over Andrew Jackson Academy. Bethesda Academy 35. Dillon Christian 6. Cathedral Academy 52. Cross 8. Also Beaufort Academy 48. Faith Christian 6. And Hilton Head Christian over First Baptist tonight 44-14. More to come on the High School Scoreboard Show.
This is Ian with AccuClean. Regular carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning isn't just about keeping them looking beautiful and smelling fresh. It can also help to life. Turn saves money in the long run. Check out AccuClean today for our other services, such as mattress sanitation, odor and enzyme treatments, and leather cleaning and conditioning. Call AccuClean today at 803-957-1202 for all your carpet cleaning needs and more. Once again, that's AccuClean at 803-957-1202. I'll see you soon.
Do you crave growth for your business? That's where The Point comes in. Fran Halloran here. Kevin Cohen and the other local hosts like me have worked to create a space where listeners transform into family. Are you a local business aiming for the stars? You need to get with Kevin and let him help create an individualized blueprint for your growth using the influential stage of The Point Radio. Reach out directly at 563-558. Teaming with The Point, make this year extraordinary.
With SRN News, I'm Ron Taylor. One person is dead, 12 rescued after an elevator malfunctions at a Colorado gold mine tourist site. The elevator was descending into the Molly Kathleen gold mine near the town of Cripple Creek when it had a mechanical problem around 500 feet beneath the surface. Investigators still determining the cause of the accident. The Lebanese army says that an Israeli airstrike killed 2 of its soldiers and wounded 3 others, an incident that further entangled Lebanon's official army in the escalating conflict between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Boeing is announcing layoffs. The giant aircraft maker said Friday it will lay off about 10% of its workers, about 17,000 people, in the coming months. The company's been losing money for 5 years. Now it's dealing with a strike that shut down factories in the Seattle area alone. Former President Donald Trump spending time Friday in a Colorado suburb away from the battleground states, continuing to double down on his pledge to carry out the latest deportation operation in this country. This is SRN News.
If you are 65 or older.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 a.m. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
The Panthers have been snake-bit with a multitude of injuries, but that provides opportunities for some other young players to show what they can do heading into Sunday's game versus Atlanta. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
The only way to be your best self is with your best health. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully with Atrium Health.
Panthers have been hit with injuries, big and small, from season-ending injuries to team captains like Derek Brown and Shaq Thompson to week-to-week type ones such as Taylor Moton. With each injury comes opportunity for others. Brady Christensen steps in at center for Austin Corbett, ironically after having suffered the same torn biceps himself last season. Christensen on the keys for the offensive line, with Yash Nyman also moving into a starting role at right tackle.
The communication part, walk through if something's not exactly communicated like they want, or we're on a little bit different page, just be like, hey, what's going on here? What's going through your brain? What do you want to hear? Just having that open dialogue, that open communication, building that communication in every rep is huge. Over-communicate, in walkthroughs and practice and all that. So then when it comes to the game, it's easy.
Top wide receiver Adam Thielen will be out for a few more weeks. Among those getting more reps is rookie free agent Jalen Coker, who led Carolina with 4 catches for 68 yards last week. Quarterback Andy Dalton says Coker caught their eye early on.
We were seeing flashes, not only in training camp, but then once we got into the season, things that he was doing on the screen. It was kind of like the beginning of his development, and when he's showing flashes there, as soon as he's getting the opportunity, he's making the most of it. I'm excited for him because he's got all the talent in the world.
I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
Beautiful, efficient, and warm. Treat yourself this holiday season with a fireplace from Bart Fireside. Add style and comfort to any room. Choose from plenty of options, including gas, wood burning, and even electric. Located at 1131 Broad River Road in Columbia, the professionals at Bart Fireside can help you put together a custom hearth to make any house a home. Locally owned since 1979, Bart Fireside, a store for all seasons, including this holiday time of year. 803-772-7364 or on the web at bartfireside.com.
Someone will be right with you. The Point. The Point.
Back on the high school scoreboard show, headed for home on this week 7 of the high school football season, presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders and the high school scoreboard show. Chris Bergen, along with David Shelton of the Charleston Post and Courier, and of course Josh Cohen back in our Columbia studios. If you attended a ball game, covered one tonight, love to hear from you to get a report. We've got room for you at 888-898-2525. Again, 888-898-2525. And David, I wanted to give you a chance. I know Phil normally waits until the tail end of the show, give you an opportunity to plug your charity opportunities, but I did want to give you an opportunity before we get back into scores to talk more about your One Team, One Calls and how that's going for you right now.
Yeah, it's a little slow right now and not getting a lot of responses, which is unfortunate because I think I sense around the state that people are thinking the fentanyl crisis is over. Because the deaths are down a little bit. Youth is up, deaths are down, which means people are still trying it and maybe not dying. And I certainly have a story, a personal story with my sons. And, it's kind of disheartening in a way that if people are getting lax in their thought process, and our teenagers are not being taught this stuff, we could easily see a spike. The drugs are still coming across the border. They're still very prevalent in our communities. It's just that, we're not hearing as much about deaths. And some of that, to be honest, is people are dying and they're not releasing publicly the cause of death, I know of one instance where a young lady, was poisoned with fentanyl, and the family is embarrassed, and I understand that. I was embarrassed to lose 2 sons. But I just keep putting it out there to churches and to teams and just high schools in general that I would love to come and speak for 45 minutes and just talk about my story and talk about the dangers and talk about I don't go into a bunch of numbers and it's not that. It's more of a personal story that I want kids to know that the decisions they make could be deadly. And as long as there be teenagers, there'll always be parties. And it only takes one party, one pill, one time, and we'll be going to funerals. And so we're hoping that it turns around a little bit. We're still pushing it, but every opportunity I get, I talk about it, if it's 5 minutes or 45 minutes. So we just keep on doing what we do.
And if folks would like to hear your very powerful and heart-wrenching story, how could they get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to our website, oneteamonecalls.com. There is an email there. You can email me. It goes to my personal email. There is a phone number that is not my personal number, but it rings to my phone. You can just contact me and say, I want you to come speak at my school or my church or my youth group or whatever. And I've never turned anybody down. So you just got to reach out. And we'll work out a date and a time, and I'll be there. And there is no charge. I do not charge a speaking fee. There are people doing speeches around the country about different things that are getting $5 and $10 grand. I'm getting $0. I don't want money. I want to try to impact young lives and just kind of educate them. That's what we need. It's an educational process.
And folks, please take advantage of it. It's scary stuff. And David's got a very, very heart-wrenching story, but I think it's a powerful message that everybody needs to hear. Again, One Team, One Calls, and David will certainly come out and explain what is going on. Segue back into some of the other scores. Didn't get a chance to finish the Skeesa scoreboard update, and we'll also update some of the new finals that we have in. Buford Academy defeated Faith Christian tonight 48-6. Hilton Head Christian 44, First Baptist 14. Florence Christian a 48-19 win over Camden Military. Greenwood Christian 48, Thomas Sumter 19, Ben Lippen 10, Heathwood Hall 6. Jefferson Davis a forfeit winner over Conway Christian tonight. John Paul II 40, Hilton Head Prep nothing. Northwood Academy falls to Portugal, a game that David saw tonight, 28-12. Lawrence Academy 50, Oakbrook Prep 20. Also Northside Christian. Orangeburg Prep, Northside Christian. There we go. 23-14. Northside with the win. Colleton Prep 30. Patrick Henry 19. Richard Wynn 48. King Academy 28-10. Wilson Hall 34. Trinity Collegiate 7. Some of the South Carolina High School League Public School Finals that are new, that are into us now here on the Scoreboard Show. Malden beat Easley tonight 36-28. Riverside over Eastside 33-8. Westside 41, Emerald 17. I told you about Wren and Fountain Inn 49-12. Wren with the victory. Catawba Ridge beat Indian Land tonight 14-7. Lancaster over Dreer 42-33. Let's see what else is new here. Seneca over Berea 42-9. Palmetto beat Southside Christian 21-10, and Boiling Springs 55, Wade Hampton 40. Is there anything else of note that's new? Ware Shoals a 47-0 winner over McCormick, and South Point beat York. We told you that 42-0 in the Midlands. AC Flora 44-7 win over Richland Northeast. Chapin falls to Lexington 33-32. David, that may have been one of the more entertaining games of the night if the final score is indicative of how the game went.
Yeah, I was kind of following that a little bit on Twitter. They were updating it, and it was 6-0, 7-6, 12-7, 14-13. All the way, it just kept going back and forth, and you just kind of had the feeling last team with the ball is going to win, and that's kind of how it turned out. But nice win for Lexington. Chapin got off to that great start, and they've lost a couple in a row now, and they're gonna have to turn it around. But again, that region that's a war. I mean, that is a big time football region. As you saw, Dutch Fork just annihilated White Knoll tonight, and White Knoll is a really good team. And Dutch Fork just continues to roll. I think that was their fourth or fifth shutout of the season already.
Wow. Yeah, Dutch Fork's a very, very good team, too. There's no doubt. Fairfield Central beat Chester tonight 22-6. Gilbert over Midland Valley 35-28 in the Midland. Some of the new scores we've gotten in. Chesterfield falls to Andrew Jackson. PD and Grand Strand 32-14. Also East Clarendon, a shootout with Kingstree. They win 42-36. And let's see, in the Low Country, some of the newer scores that have come in. Berkeley, we told you, falls to Goose Creek 13-10. Hampton County 39, Lake Marion 7. Stratford beat Lucy Beckham 42-38. And that looks like that's everything new that we have here tonight. So we'll pause, take a quick time out. We do have Scott Early, the executive director of the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association, that is going to visit with us for a couple of moments. So we want to clear some space with him. Plus, we'll come back. Any more reports, we'll get them on. And also one final check of the scoreboard on this week 7, the high school football season. You're locked in to the Sports Talk Media Network. It's the High School Scoreboard Show presented by Founders Federal Credit Union.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local, the remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call Alex Satterfield at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Josh told me the University of Florida fight song was going to be played. I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and now here it actually is. Sports Talk Media Network is the high school scoreboard. Week 7 of the high school football season rapidly coming to a close here tonight, presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Chris Bergen, David Shelton, and also Josh Cohen back in our Columbia studios. And it's our pleasure to welcome to the program the Executive Director of the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association. We say hello to Coach Scott Early on the phone lines tonight. Coach, how you doing?
Good, guys. Hope you are.
We are doing very well. We appreciate your time. Sorry we can't get to you a little bit earlier in the program. What have you been up to this evening?
Well, that's actually my fault. It's been a long week and I actually fell asleep, and Corn happened to wake me up. So I'm here now. And, was scheduled to go to J.L. Mound Hillcrest tonight, but with this fluctuating schedule due to Hurricane Helene, you never know. So kindly took the night off and just monitored the scores, and so we had a lot of good games tonight. And it's good to see everybody back playing and recovering from the devastation that we had in the western part of the state.
Now, do they play J.L. Mann and Hillcrest tonight? We had a report earlier that might actually be played tomorrow.
It is going to be played tomorrow. There's actually a lot of games tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're trying to do with the adjustments that were made by the high school league is just trying to get them in and having safety at first, and it's sort of staggered start. So you're going to see a lot of Saturday, Monday, Wednesday type deals for the rest of the year. It looks like everybody's restructured their schedules, and obviously the upper state is trying to catch up with the lower state. And now the season's been moved back a week, and hopefully, all our players in the state will have an opportunity to have a championship experience and also an all-star experience.
Were you pleased with what the high school league decided to do earlier this week by extending the season a week and then also maintaining the 5 rounds of the playoffs?
I thought that it's good to see compromise, and I think in the upper state and the western part of the state we're obviously in a unique situation that we've never been in before, and it was good to see the high school league and our member schools all come together and just try to do what's right and what's fair, and be able to get the season in and meet all the region qualifiers, and even a 1 week later, but have true champions in all classifications, and then have all our student athletes have opportunity to be a part of our all-star games at the end of the year.
How is that going to work now with both the North-South game and also the Shrine Bowl taking place on the same day? It'll be an exciting day for fans. How big a deal is that going to be to pull it both off for you guys?
Well, I mean, what's great about us is we work with a great city in Myrtle Beach that is able to adjust and move things and flip things around. It was sort of a logistic nightmare. And, back in 2016, we sort of had the same scenario, and we're going to play the Shrine Bowl in North-South on the same day, and we'll be able to kindly halt play and recognize Mr. Football from Myrtle Beach, being that Mr. Football could be in the Shrine Bowl, which is usually what happens. So just good to see everybody work together, and South Carolina State and High School League be able to back that state championship up a week and give our especially our seniors the opportunity to play out a full season and have a true playoff qualifier and have a true championship.
Scott Early with us here tonight on the high school scoreboard. And Scott, we were talking earlier, David and I were, about how difficult it must be down at Socastee with what Ben Hampton, their head coach, is dealing with the announcement a week or so ago that his son was diagnosed with leukemia. He's taken a leave of absence from the program. They've elevated one of their assistants to interim head coach. Can you, I'm not sure any of us can relate to exactly what Ben's dealing with, but how difficult is that for him, his family, but also his football team to continue to try and play?
Well, we've got a lot of tough times going on right now, and people are resilient. We've actually got one of our guys, Bart Owens from BSN, that's been with the Touchstone Energy Bowl since 2003 and played at Lake City, and a long-time friend and vendor of the association that was, diagnosed this week with brain cancer. And we've been down at Lexington Memorial Center a lot of the week, and following the tragedy of the hurricane, and you see people get sick and things happen. I think it puts in perspective truly how special high school athletics is, and all the people it takes to make it, to be a part of it. Not only coaches and players and schools and communities, but vendors and just people that are all connected in many, many ways. And it's been a sort of tragic week, and to see that, and hopefully, high school athletics has always been a thing that brings people together, and hopefully we can do that for coaches like Ben and people like Bard, and we can understand God's will in the end. So,
Scott, before I let you go, I wanted to see, David, do you have something you'd like to ask Scott about either this week or what's ahead forthcoming for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, I was just curious about the All-Stars game, and I do apologize. I have not been really focused on those. I was focused on what they're going to do in the playoffs and extension and all that stuff. But if the Shrine Bowl and the North-South, what's the date that they're going to be played on?
Well, it'd be December 21st. We were scheduled to play on the 14th, and they're always a week later on the 21st. So the Touchstone Energy Bowl will back up and play the same Saturday on December 21st as the Shrine Bowl. And hopefully with the devastation in Western North Carolina, and the fact that 2 days ago they moved the state championship games in North Carolina and the East-West All-Star game to that weekend, hopefully it don't have, such a large impact on the Shrine Bowl, but that's, yet to be determined. I'm sure that's going to affect things a little bit, but hopefully we can all just, continue to monitor and adjust and do what's best for the student athletes in our state.
What would the times be staggered? Have y'all even got that far? Like, I know y'all normally play about 12:30.
Yes, sir, David. That's a great question. We're actually going to move. We actually going to repeat what we did in 2016. We're going to move up and kick off at 12 and do the TV obligations. They're going to kick at 1, and when we get to halftime down at the beach, we're going to try to throw it up to Spartanburg and announce Mr. Football. And normally Mr. Football is there at halftime at Myrtle Beach, but with us playing at the same time, we don't know who Mr. Football is yet, but normally they're in the Shrine Bowl. So we would stop and reciprocate that for each other. And I've talked to the Shrine Bowl folks, and they're awesome to work with. So we kind of look back at what we did in 2016 and sort of have the same kind of plan.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Scott, we appreciate the time tonight. Enjoy your weekend. Sounds like it's been an awfully stressful week for you, so hopefully you can get some rest and be able to relax, and we'll talk back to you next week.
Yes, sir. And sorry I missed you earlier, but just anybody out there listening, from the coach in Socastee to the kids and communities that have impacted, to the Bard Owens family, please send up some prayers, and let's continue to work together and move forward.
Well said, sir. Thank you, Scott.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir. That is Scott Early, the executive director of the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association. And David, that's really cool to be able to figure out a way to make the North-South game, the Touchstone Energy Bowl, and also the Shrine Bowl sort of run in almost consecutively with one another, but stop at halftime to be able to announce Mr. Football, considering he's probably not going to be in the Touchstone Energy Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I think that lends credence to the award, and it is a big award in this state, and we certainly it's certainly warranted. That if the winner is in the Shrine Bowl, that they can take a little 5-minute break from the action and recognize him along with the folks at the North South that can, technology is a wonderful thing. So it will be different, but as he said, 2016 we did it and it worked fine. And, and as I said on Sports Talk, there's going to be adjustments when things like this happen. You just have to kind of roll with it. And once you figure out, okay, this is what we're going to do, then you go into the process of making it happen. And I mean, there's nobody better than Scott Early at figuring stuff out like this. So he's been doing this a long time. So, when it comes to All-Star games, Scott is the guy you trust to make sure it happens.
Without a doubt, man. He's done a great job, and I'm sure he will with the logistics this year for sure. All right, it looks like we've got all the upper state finals in, so let's quickly run through one final check of the scoreboard before we wrap things up. And again, you can get all the scores up on our website a little bit later tonight at sportstalksc.com. In the upper state, Powdersville defeated Christchurch 33-14. Clinton over Chesney 46-21. Crescent 56, West Oak 7. Daniel 54, Travelers Rest nothing. Spartanburg 23, Dorman 7. Malden 36, Easley 28. Riverside 33, Eastside 8. Westside 41, Emerald 17. Northwestern 65, Fort Mill 6. Wren over Fountain Inn 49-12. Lamar blanks Great Falls 47-0. Greenwood Greenville set to be played tomorrow. It's Blue Ridge falling to Greer 49-21. Indian Land falls to Catawba Ridge by a score of 14-7. Hillcrest J.L. Man also tomorrow. Meantime, Dreer falls to Lancaster 42-33. Lawrence shuts out Southside tonight 49-0. Pendleton falls to Walhalla 20-7. Rock Hill beats up on on Nation Ford 52-29. Seneca 42, and Maria nothing. Southside Christian falls to Palmetto 21-10. Boiling Springs 55, Wade Hampton 14. Ware Shoals 47, McCormick nothing. Dixie 18, and Whitmire 38. So Whitmire with the win there. Meantime, T.L. Hanna and Woodmont, they'll play tomorrow. And the last score we have in the upper state, South Point over York by a score of 42-0. In the Midlands tonight, Richland Northeast, they drop a 44-7 decision to AC Flores. Strom Thurmond 53, American Leadership nothing. Batesburg Leesville 42, 96-14. Blackville Hilla 50, Wagner Sally 9. It's West Florence over Blythewood 19-14. Tomorrow, Aiken will square off with Brooklyn Casey. C.A. Johnson falls to McBee 33-22. Hunter Kinder Tyler 28. Calhoun County nothing. It's Lexington beating Chapin by a point. Chapin by a point 33-32. Mid Carolina over Columbia 24-14. Don't have a final in on Denmark, Olar, and Hardyville. Meantime, Dutch Fork no problem with White Knoll 38-0. It was Fairfield Central 22, Chester 6, Midland Valley 28, Gilbert 35. So Gilbert with the win there. Great Collegiate 50, Airport nothing. It was Irmo 35, River Bluff 14. Keenan 44 and Silver Bluff 15. It was South Florence 42, Lakewood 12. Wilson falls to Lower Richland 23-20. Newberry 47, Fox Creek nothing. Orangeburg Wilkinson 21, Hanahan 12. Saluda 53, Pelion nothing. And Ridge Spring Minetta falls to Williston Elko 20-14. Ridgeview 50, Lugoff Elgin nothing. And Westwood beats Spring Valley 26-0. PD Grand Strand, Woodland over Andrews 19-6. Lake City 30, Atlantic Collegiate 10. It was Lakeview 28, Carvers Bay 6, Sturrall 30, and Central Pageland 13. Andrew Jackson over Chesterfield 32-14. Dillon 49, Ader 7. Kingstree falls to East Clarendon 42-38 as Marlborough County 64 and Georgetown 15. Hannah Pamplico 42, Green Sea Floyd 7. Latta 46, Hemingway nothing, and Lee Central falls to Louisville 34-14. Won't be able to get them all in. I was hoping I could squeeze them all in. You can check them out on our website tonight, sportstalksc.com. Folks, have a great weekend.
Hi, this is Sal from Grow Your Garden with Sal. Every Saturday at 8 a.m. on The Point, we'll give you tips on gardening and planting